I want to get some stuff off my chest today. We've been dealing with COVID for well over 2 months now, and everyone's been in lockdown. And I know everyone has a hard time being in isolation and not being able to do anything. And yeah, it sucks not being able to see my friends, and it sucks not being able to play the sports and go to the gym and do the things that we're used to. But for me, other than that, life hasn't really changed that much, other than my family's home all the time. Because I work from home, so it's not such a big deal for me to be at home all day long. Uh, but I do find going out is way more difficult after the new restrictions came in for COVID and even more things shut down. I find myself getting more and more stressed and overwhelmed with having to go out in public, but not for the reasons you might think. I like protecting myself, yes, washing my hands, don't touch your face, all these things are very important. But also not pooping yourself while you're waiting in line to get into a store is also one of those things that I have to deal with. And for me, it's super stressful because I don't know what's open. I don't know what I can use, what I can't use. I did a few videos a while ago on places that were open that you could still use their washrooms, but I have not done that in a bit. And with the new restrictions and everything's closed pretty well, other than essential services. And for me, I'm the one in the family that has to go out and do the groceries, and I'm doing things for older people in our families as well. They're like going to get them groceries so they don't have to go, or going to get their prescriptions and things like that. So it is important for me to be able to go out and do the things I need to do. But there are no bathrooms that are open. So me leaving the house is so stressful, because it's like, okay, how long am I going to be? Is my tummy going to be able to last that long? Who knows? I never know how my body will react. I remember I went to the LCBO with my husband, and we got there, and I couldn't even, like, I was like, at the end of it, I was like squeezing so hard, just like everything, just to not poop on the way home. And it was like a 10-minute drive. And then going to Walmart, trying to get things for other family members that needed stuff. It took me 2 days. It took me 2 days to do shopping because I was so scared to leave the house and have to stand in a lineup before I could get in to use a washroom. Because the lineups are so big, it adds extra time to your shopping, which I don't always have because my body doesn't have a schedule. So it's hard for me to tell or to know. So yeah, it took me 2 days to get to Walmart, a 10-minute drive from my house. I drove there the first day. I saw the lineup, and just seeing the lineup, I had to poop. And it was like, there's no way I can stand in that lineup and wait that long before I can go in and use a washroom. And mind you, I don't go out in public. I don't enjoy using public washrooms because I have to, especially in this kind of situation where things aren't super safe. I'd love to avoid it if I could, but unfortunately, I don't get that luxury of just being able to hold it till I get home because it's not going to happen. And I know other people struggle with going to the washroom in front of people or having people know that you are using the washroom. And yeah, it's stressful. I know I worry about, like, what are people gonna think about me? Like, if I'm, like, what happens if I'm in line somewhere and I can't hold it, I can't get in, like, what happens? I'm away from my house, I'm away from the safety and the shelter of my bathrooms. It's super stressful, and it really took me 2 days to go and to build up the courage to do it, just because the first day it was like I had to go. I wasn't even gone for half an hour, and I had used the washroom just before I left. So don't even get me started on, like, oh, well, you should go before you leave the house, because trust me, I do. I go all the time, and I absolutely go before I leave the house every single time I leave the house. But it doesn't always, like, I could use it and then have to go, and then another 10 minutes go by and I have to use it again. If I'm moving around too much, if I'm my body just, it works in funny ways, and some days I'm fine all day long and other days I'm not. So anyways, the story that I'm trying to tell is the one of me trying to get to Walmart. And honestly, that day was so stressful for me just because I went there, I saw the line. It was too busy. I barely made it back home. And like our bathroom is like what well, we have a bathroom right by our front door. And just the time it took me to drive to Walmart, see the lineup and get back, I was like almost going to poop myself. Like didn't couldn't even take the time to take my coat and boots off before I was running to the bathroom. Like that's how urgent it was that I had to go. Um and it's a scary feeling. It really is because, I mean, mind you, I always have toilet paper and wet wipes and sanitizer in my car in case I end up having to poop in a bush somewhere. Who knows? It happens. I mean, I've done it camping, things like that. So it's not something that you like doing, but if it happens, it happens. Um, and yeah, so that was just super stressful for me. I couldn't like, and the next day I was like anxious. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to go do the things I needed to do. Like I really needed things. We needed groceries. Family members needed medication, things like that. So it was like I really had to go, and I was like, I couldn't procrastinate. I couldn't put it off, even though I was scared. I couldn't not go. I didn't have the option to not go. So I sucked it up and I went, and I ended up being able to make a Walmart trip. I made another grocery store and a pharmacy all in one trip, and I was fine. So being sheltered inside because you have one experience or one bad experience or one close call, um, it's not worth it to live in a life of shelter or like be scared to not go outside or to go do things. And yeah, so I kind of wanted to share that with you because I really struggled with that, and I was panicking and didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to do anything out of my home because I was scared I was going to get caught short. And as much as that sucks, it's true. And I know other people go through similar things, so I just wanted to share my story or my most recent one. It happened earlier this week. So this is my most recent story, or episode of going out and adventuring. And I was lucky enough at the Walmart, I was able to use the washroom, and I was able to use the washroom at the grocery store. And I was able to hold it during the lineups, and get there and be okay. But just stay positive. And no, you're not the only people out there that are freaking out and panicking about having to go out. Remember, there are a lot of other people out there that struggle with things. So don't judge them. It's not nice. Everyone's going through something. I'm sharing my story because I think it's important to know what other people are struggling with and to share their struggles, not for like, oh, poor you have a pooping problem. Yes, I poop a lot. Things like, so what? I mean, I have digestive issues. It sucks. I suck it up and I just get on with my day. But it's not something that can hold you back, and I don't want it to hold anyone else back just because you have one bad experience or you have an embarrassing experience even. I mean, I've had my fair share of embarrassing stories. So if you are interested, I'm happy to share some other ones. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to hear about. Not because I think it's funny, but it's because it's a way for me to share things that I go through, and maybe other people have similar issues, and it might help them to know that they're not alone. Because everyone poops, and it's one of those things that you kind of, it's not something nice to talk about. It's not something pleasant. It's not something that we want to talk about. But I think it's important to start a conversation with people about this, because a lot of people go through it and they can't talk about it. So I feel like me sharing my experiences might help you to at least be comfortable in dealing with things that you're going through as well. So that's why I'm sharing today.